Let me ask you something. When was the last time you made a decision that was truly for you? Not for your parents, not for your friends, not for society, not for the image you think you're supposed to maintain, but for the person you are when nobody is watching. Because too many people wake up every day wearing a life that doesn't fit them. They chase approval like oxygen. They perform for applause. They follow a script they never agreed to. And then they wonder why they feel empty, tired, and disconnected from their own dreams. The truth is, the most dangerous prison you can live in is the mind that's owned by other people's opinions. Somewhere along the way, you were taught to measure your worth by how well you please others, how quietly you obey expectations, how perfectly you blend in. You were trained to fear disappointing people more than disappointing yourself. And slowly, without even realizing it, you began trading your authenticity for acceptance, your purpose for popularity, your future for familiarity. But here's what nobody tells you. The world doesn't reward the person who fits in. The world makes room for the one who stands out. History doesn't remember the person who lived carefully. It honors the one who lived honestly. There comes a moment in every strong life when you stop asking, "What will they think?" and start asking, "What do I want?" When you realize that your dreams were not placed in your heart by accident, that your voice matters, that your time on this earth is far too valuable to be spent performing a role written by someone else. You don't owe anyone the sacrifice of your identity. You don't owe the world a smaller version of yourself. And you certainly don't owe your future to the comfort of other people's expectations. Living for yourself is not selfish. It is responsible. It means you finally take ownership of your choices, your direction, your destiny. It means you choose growth over approval, purpose over popularity, fulfillment over familiarity. It means you stop surviving inside someone else's vision and start building the life that was meant for you. And when you do that, when you make that shift, when you choose your own path with courage and conviction, something incredible happens. You stop existing and you start truly living. Most people never realize that the moment they begin chasing approval, they quietly surrender control of their life. It doesn't happen all at once. It starts with small compromises, changing your words so you don't upset anyone, shrinking your dreams so they don't intimidate anyone, hiding your real thoughts so you don't stand out. Over time, those tiny choices build invisible walls around your identity. You wake up one day and notice that you no longer recognize the person in the mirror, not because you failed, but because you've been living according to everyone else's expectations. Approval becomes your compass, and the more you follow it, the further you drift from your own truth. The prison of approval is dangerous because it feels safe. You receive compliments for being agreeable, rewards for fitting in, reassurance for staying predictable. People applaud you for being easy to control, for not making waves, for staying inside the lines they drew for you. But every time you choose comfort over honesty, you lose a piece of yourself. You start editing your personality, filtering your ambition, and questioning your instincts. You stop trusting your own voice because you've trained yourself to listen to everyone else's first. Slowly, your confidence weakens, your energy drains, and your passion fades, not because you are incapable, but because you are disconnected from your own direction. What makes this prison even more powerful is the fear that fuels it. Fear of being judged, fear of being misunderstood, fear of being rejected, fear of standing alone. These fears convince you that belonging is more important than becoming, that fitting in matters more than moving forward. So you stay where you are accepted instead of where you are called. You tolerate situations that don't serve you, relationships that don't grow you, and routines that don't fulfill you, all because approval feels like security. But approval is not safety. It is dependency. And any life built on dependency is fragile. When your self-worth depends on how others see you, your happiness is no longer in your control. One opinion can ruin your mood. One criticism can shake your confidence. One disagreement can make you question your value. You become a prisoner of reactions, constantly adjusting yourself to maintain the image others have of you. And the longer you stay in that cycle, the harder it becomes to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Breaking this prison requires courage. because the moment you stop seeking approval, some people will be uncomfortable. Some will question you. Some will pull away. But what you gain is far greater than what you lose. You gain clarity, strength, self-respect, and the freedom to build a life that reflects who you truly are, not who you were told to before a long time. You may not even realize that you've lost your own voice. It doesn't disappear suddenly. It fades slowly beneath the noise of advice, expectations, comparisons, and opinions that surround you every day. Teachers tell you what success should look like. Family tells you what path is acceptable. Friends influence what is cool, what is normal, what is safe. Social media amplifies all of it, showing you who you should be, what you should have, how fast you should achieve it. And somewhere in that constant noise, your own thoughts become quieter. Your instincts feel less certain. You start second-guessing your choices before you even make them. You begin to live in reaction instead of intention. Reclaiming your inner voice is the process of remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. It begins when you finally slow down enough to listen to yourself again. In the silence between distractions, you start noticing what excites you, what drains you, what feels right, what feels forced. You begin to recognize the difference between what you truly want and what you've been taught to want. That awareness is powerful because once you see the truth, you can no longer pretend that the life you are living is fully yours. Your inner voice doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. It whispers through your emotions, your discomfort, your curiosity, your dreams. The more you ignore it, the more disconnected you become. The more you listen, the more aligned your life begins to feel. At first, trusting that voice is uncomfortable. You've been trained to doubt yourself, to look outside for permission, to measure every decision by how others will react. But the truth is, no one else can hear what your life is calling you to become. No one else carries your experiences, your values, your potential. When you finally choose to trust your own judgment, something shifts inside you. Your decisions become clearer. Your boundaries become stronger. Your confidence stops being dependent on approval and starts being rooted in self-respect. As you reclaim your inner voice, you also reclaim your power. You stop apologizing for your desires. You stop shrinking your goals. You stop negotiating your worth. You begin choosing environments that support your growth instead of ones that drain your energy. You start building habits that reflect who you want to become instead of who you've been trying to please. And with each decision that honors your truth, the connection to yourself becomes stronger. The world will continue to be loud. Opinions will never disappear. Expectations will always exist. But when you're grounded in your own voice, that noise no longer controls you. You can listen without losing yourself. You can consider without surrendering your direction. You can stand in your choices with calm and clarity because you know they come from within, not from fear, not from pressure, not from the need to belong, but from the quiet certainty of knowing who you are becoming. Most people don't realize the true price they pay for trying to please everyone because the cost is not charged all at once. It is taken from them slowly, in small emotional withdrawals that feel harmless in the moment, but become devastating over time. Every time you say yes when your heart says no, every time you stay silent when your soul wants to speak, every time you bend your values just to keep the peace, you lose something valuable inside yourself. You lose confidence. You lose clarity. You lose trust in your own decisions. And eventually, you lose the connection to who you really are. Pleasing everyone feels like love, but it is often fear in disguise. Fear of conflict, fear of rejection, fear of disappointing people, fear of being seen as difficult or selfish or ungrateful. So you carry the emotional weight of other people's expectations, and you convince yourself that this is what being a good person looks like. But the truth is, when you spend your life managing how others feel, you end up abandoning how you feel. You become emotionally exhausted, mentally drained, and quietly resentful, not because others are asking too much, but because you never learned how to protect your own needs. Over time, this pattern creates an internal war. On the outside, you appear calm, kind, cooperative, dependable. On the inside, you're overwhelmed, frustrated, unfulfilled. You begin to feel invisible in your own life. You are surrounded by people, yet disconnected from yourself. You are doing everything for everyone, yet nothing for your own growth. And the worst part is, the more you give without boundaries, the more people expect it. Your kindness becomes a contract you never signed, and breaking it feels like betrayal, even though you are the one who has been betraying yourself. Trying to please everyone also teaches you to lie, not with words, but with behavior. You pretend to agree when you don't. You pretend to be happy when you're not. You pretend that everything is fine when you're falling apart inside. This constant performance robs you of authenticity. You start living in fragments, showing different versions of yourself to different people, and forgetting which one is real. And when you lose that sense of self, no amount of approval can fill the emptiness that remains. The cost of pleasing everyone is not just emotional. It is the loss of your future. While you're busy maintaining comfort for others, your own dreams sit unattended. Your potential stays unused. Your life remains paused while everyone else moves forward. Eventually, you look back and realize that in trying to be everything for everyone, you became nothing for yourself. And that is a price no one should ever have to pay. Choosing yourself is one of the hardest and most powerful decisions you will ever make, because the moment you do, your life begins to change in ways that feel both terrifying and liberating. For a long time, you have been trained to believe that putting yourself first is wrong, that your needs come second, that your dreams should wait until everyone else is comfortable. But the truth is, no one builds a meaningful life by staying small, silent, and safe. The courage to choose yourself is the moment you stop living by permission and start living by purpose. This courage does not arrive when fear disappears. It shows up when fear is present and you decide to move anyway. You will feel uncertain. You will question your choices. You will worry about disappointing people who are used to you being available, agreeable, and predictable. Some will not understand your growth. Some will resist your boundaries. Some will accuse you of changing. And they will be right. You are changing because growth demands it. The version of you that stays comfortable cannot become the version of you that becomes fulfilled. When you choose yourself, you begin to make decisions that reflect your values instead of your fears. You stop waiting for approval before acting. You stop explaining your goals to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You start protecting your time, your energy, and your focus. You realize that every yes you give to others is a no to something in your own life, and you finally become selective about where your effort goes. This is not selfishness. This is self-respect. The courage to choose yourself also means being willing to walk alone at times. The path of growth is rarely crowded. It requires you to step away from what is familiar, even if it is comfortable, and move toward what is meaningful, even if it is uncertain. You will outgrow people, places, habits, and beliefs that once felt like home. And that can be painful. But staying where you no longer belong is far more painful in the long run. The life you want requires you to become someone new, and that transformation demands bravery. As you continue choosing yourself, something remarkable happens inside you. Your confidence deepens. Your clarity sharpens. Your standards rise. You stop chasing validation and start building a life that feels true to you. You stop measuring your progress by other people's timelines and begin honoring your own. You learn to trust your instincts, your decisions, and your direction. You begin to see that the greatest act of courage is not proving yourself to the world, but committing to yourself in every choice you make. There will always be voices that question your path. There will always be moments of doubt. But every time you choose your growth over your comfort, your truth over your fear, your future over your past, you step closer to the life that was meant for you, and the person you were always capable of becoming. Building a life on purpose means you stop drifting and start designing. It is the moment you realize that your life is not something that happens to you, but something you are responsible for shaping. Too many people wake up each day reacting to circumstances, following routines they never chose, chasing goals that don't excite them, and calling it normal. But purpose begins when you decide that normal is no longer enough. It begins when you take ownership of your direction and accept that no one else is coming to live your life for you. Living on purpose requires intention in your daily choices. It means asking yourself why you do what you do, not just how you do it. Why are you in this place? Why are you chasing this goal? Why are you surrounding yourself with these people? Purpose exposes habits that don't serve you and commitments that drain you. It challenges you to let go of comfort that keeps you stuck and routines that keep you numb. When your actions align with your values, your energy changes. You wake up with clarity instead of confusion. You move with focus instead of force. Even the hard days feel meaningful because you know why you're pushing forward. Designing your life also means releasing inherited expectations. Many people spend years trying to live out someone else's definition of success, hoping it will eventually feel right. But fulfillment does not come from copying another person's path. It comes from honoring your own calling. Purpose is personal. It evolves as you grow. What mattered to you 5 years ago may not matter now. And that is not failure. That is progress. When you allow yourself to redefine success on your own terms, you stop chasing external validation and start building internal satisfaction. A purposeful life is not perfect or easy. There will be setbacks, delays, and moments of doubt. But purpose gives pain meaning and struggle direction. Instead of asking why this is happening to you, you begin asking what this is teaching you. You start seeing obstacles as feedback instead of failure. You become resilient not because life gets easier, but because your reason for continuing gets stronger. Purpose turns effort into fulfillment and discipline into freedom. When you build your life on purpose, you stop waiting for permission to be yourself. You stop comparing your journey to others. You understand that progress is not about speed, but alignment. Each step you take with intention compounds into confidence. Each decision made with clarity strengthens your identity. And one day, you look around and realize you are no longer living someone else's expectations. You are living your truth. So if this message resonated with you and helped you see your life differently, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.